That sound cool? Law enforcement against prohibition. It's over 100,000 law enforcement officers, prosecutors, former judges that are against the prohibition of drugs. We believe that we need to legalize drugs because the problems in our society have led to the issues that we have here today. Let me talk about this. Prohibition doesn't work. That's something that we learned in the last century. In the 4 decades since President Nixon has declared the war on drugs, the United States drug strategy has remained unchanged, and it has, in fact, turned our society into the largest industrial prison complex in the world. The United States is now home to more than 25% of the entire world's prison population. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I served more than 20 years in service in the United States Navy. Law Enforcement Against Prohibition asked me to come speak here today because I was involved in the drug war. I lived in Central America for a lot of years. We operated out of South America and trying to bring America to a drug-free America by 1995. You guys remember that? Didn't quite work. Now, the human cost is actually very staggering. Nearly 40,000 drug-related deaths in the United States occur every year. Now, so far, more than 60,000 deaths in Mexico as a result of our war on drugs. It's a lot of people. It's more than what we've lost in Afghanistan. It's more than what we've lost in Iraq. The global drug trade now accounts for 1% of all commerce on the planet, more than $320 billion every year. The United States has pursued essentially the same flawed supply reduction strategy for 40 years, and it simply isn't working. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our country's wasted $2.5 trillion arresting, jailing, and killing its citizens with an increasingly militarized police force. We have created a war to force a moral code of injustice on all Americans. The prohibition of marijuana has not only failed in its promises, but actually created additional serious and disturbing problems throughout our society. Repealing the prohibition of marijuana does not mean we endorse its use. It's a call for wiser law enforcement and public health policy. Here in the United States, prohibition has given control of marijuana production and distribution to drug cartels and street gangs. This promotes disrespect for law and reinforces ethnic and generational divides between the public and law enforcement. Every year, more than 750,000 Americans are arrested for marijuana possession, far more than all those arrested for violent crimes in America. The costs are staggering. The cost of marijuana prohibition alone exceeds $12 billion every year, and it is a failing strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not less marijuana in the United States, but more. There's not less crime, but more. The cost of government is not smaller, but vastly greater. The respect for law has not increased, but diminished. Look, as Americans, we urge our leaders to support the passage of legislation to remove the penalties for the possession of marijuana and regulate its use, production, and sale, as we do with other things, such as liquor. The prohibition of marijuana has kept liberty in the dark for many years. It's time to let it out and ring the bells of freedom, because we are Americans and we will be free. Thank you very much.